Because I've bumped into police officers on bicycles twice now since I've been in Perth, I thought I'd contrast and compare the difference in approach, or what it seems like, between New South Wales and Western Australia. So, of course, in New South Wales we have the absurdity of Operation Pedro, and this is from an article a couple of years ago, which I think is fairly right. I mean, if you look at these questions that were raised in Parliament from 2018, they involved 1,105 officers in 3 operations since May 2014. over 1,100 officers out on the road looking for people that don't have bells on their bikes and things like that. Whereas WA seems to take quite a different approach, and this is the mob I've run into twice. This police bike patrol unit in Northbridge, and they set this up obviously back in 2016. And what I didn't realise until I read this is they've become a permanent fixture. They started with a team of 36 officers, and they wanted to focus on reducing crime and antisocial behaviour. If you don't know, Northbridge is kind of the Perth equivalent of King's Cross, except of course they didn't close it down for a couple of years. It's kept on going. How vibrant and lively it is these days, I don't know, but look, I've certainly ridden through there at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning and seen a few people staggering around looking like they just come out of nightclubs. So yeah, maybe it's still going strong, I don't know. But interestingly, the police minister said local businesses in the area had consistently requested more bike-mounted police as a crime deterrent. Well, that I find really interesting. You know, the local business can actually see that as a benefit. Well, you know, whether that's just spin from politicians and they don't really actually have any local businesses, I don't know, but that's what they reported. But the next bit I think is absolutely true. The advantage of police officers on bikes is that they can get in and out of the city in a very nimble fashion, and yeah, particularly when you've got a lot of people driving through the area at night. Like if you've ever driven through King's Cross or been in King's Cross in its heyday, it was just gridlocked from end to end with, you know, queues of cars stretching back down to the CBD, and you know, people just wanting to drive in and drive around and be looked at and look at what's going on, you know, that kind of thing. I think Northbridge is the same, and if you're on bikes you can just duck in and out of that traffic, and you know, you're moving a lot faster than you can if you're on foot. The bicycles are highly visible and could respond to crime faster and be more accessible to the community. Yeah, I mean, I've just ridden up to these guys once and asked for directions, and they are very accessible and they are highly visible. You know, they're wearing nice bright tops and all the rest of it. They've got shiny stuff on the side. They do stand out. And the video I'm going to show a bit later on, there were 7 of them riding a little peloton. So yeah, 7 cops on bikes really does stand out. You know, they and you know, they're not screaming along, they're kind of ambling along at, you know, maybe 15 kilometres an hour, having a good chat, having a look at stuff, yeah, and just showing the flag, I guess. And just the high visibility helps to deter crime, I guess so. Several bike-mounted officers are already deployed at peak periods in Northbridge, but it was ad hoc, yeah, okay. Putting in 36 officers, blah, blah, blah. It can also be used at major events elsewhere, yeah, I guess like the footy and things like that. The opposition thought it was a good idea, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And they'd like to see good old-fashioned police work, not only here in the city, but would like to see it in all these other areas, because all those places need more cops on the beat too, and they need more cops on the beat whether that's on foot or on bike patrol. Well, okay, very interesting, just massive, I guess, divergence in attitude, I guess, between the police forces. That, you know, Perth has picked up on bicycles as being this really useful thing. I mean, that's what cops got around on for years until they moved into cars, etc., I guess in the 1920s or 1930s. And now they're going back to bicycles for more local community-focused policing. But yeah, I just thought I'd quickly show you the video. I did use this in another video the other day. But you know, what had happened is I was riding through Northbridge to get to the freeway, and these 2 rode past in front of me. You can see they're on a kind of a mountain bike. They've got like a pannier at the back for their kit. They're wearing all their accoutrements. They got lots of reflective stuff everywhere, and yeah, they really stood out. And then they weren't going very fast, and then yeah, coming up behind was the rest. You know, there were the scouts out the front, and then the platoon up the back. And interestingly, they were followed by a paddy wagon. So I guess if they did, whether that was just by coincidence or whether they actually do that on purpose, so that if they do have to nick off and nick somebody, they can, you know, chuck him in the back and take them down the station that way. Or that could be like the team manager, you know, like in the Tour de France, and they're there to hand out rice cakes and water bottles and advice. I don't know. But yeah, over here the headlines are all about community-focused policing on bikes, whereas in Sydney all we get is, you know, when you hear bicycle policing, it means a crackdown on cyclists. Yeah, I think it'd be nice if the language changed, so in Sydney when we hear bicycle policing, it means police on bicycles deterring crime, etc. in our neighbourhoods, rather than checking your bike to see if it's got a bell on it.